So this report must be read in full. Now, let me also emphasize that the impression has been created that, it is some strange occurrence within the Ghanaian context and the NDC Mills Mahama government that created this. All of us should remember that this was an international investigation which covered the following countries where Airbus operates: Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Indonesia, China, Colombia, Nepal, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Russia, and Ghana. Indeed, Ghana is the least of the bribe that was allegedly paid. And Airbus went into a consent judgment with UK and US authorities. So the judgment was delivered on the same day, 31st January 2020. And they agreed that they will pay 3.9 billion euros so that the matter, they didn't want to be subjected to further prosecution. So there was a settlement of 3.9 billion euros. So let's place on record that this was an operation that covers so many countries. NPP propagandists have sought to create the impression as if there was some problem with the Mahama vice presidency, which led to this. It is total hogwash, and it has to be thrown in the dustbin. Now,
NPP said what?
Now, let's come to...
No, 1 second. All of us have been relying on the reports in the UK and USA. So don't bring NPP into this matter. All of us have been relying on the reports arising from the investigations done on Airbus in the UK and USA.
I hear you. You are relying on that.
Why do you have to
That's
put
fine.
NPP into this?
We hear you. Now, the next point that I must make very forcefully, very, very forcefully, is that the OSP has determined that in the purchase of the Ghanaian aircrafts, the aircrafts duly arrived. There was no financial loss to the state. Ghana has not lost any money. No money is missing. That has to be emphasized. Indeed, if you read page 17, paragraph 6.2, the OSP investigation shows, as captured in the UK and US DPAs, that Airbus completed 2 sale campaigns in Ghana in respect of C-295 twin turboprop military transport aircrafts manufactured in Spain by a subsidiary of Airbus. The campaigns resulted in the sale of 3 C-295s. The first contract between Ghana and Airbus was signed on 3rd August 2011 for the sale of 2 of the aircraft, and the second contract was signed on 5th March 2015 for 1 C-295. The 3 aircraft were delivered to Ghana on 17 November 2011, 19th March 2012, and 4th December 2015, respectively. So the aircrafts have arrived. No financial loss has been caused. That point must be emphasized. The OSP also went into how these aircrafts were acquired, the whole process, even leading to the parliamentary approval. And the OSP concludes at paragraph 6.4 that the processes leading to the purchase by the government of Ghana of the 3 C-295 twin turboprop military transport aircraft from Airbus follow substantially the same pattern. It says that since Ghana has been buying aircrafts from 1957, there was nothing unique, nothing different about this transaction. This is a very important point. So President Mahama did not introduce any new scheme. I like that Akan expression. There was no kanana in the whole transaction. It has followed the same pattern. It continues. Parliament approved the proposed transactions in 2011 in accordance with the laws of Ghana. There was nothing remarkable about the deal, and it certainly would not have found its way in the UK and US DPAs and made headlines around the world, but for the involvement of former President John Mahama and his younger brother of the full blood, Samuel Adam Foster, also known as Samuel Adam Mahama, and his associates, as recounted in the UK and the US DPAs. So he says that, but for Samuel Adam Foster being an agent of Airbus, there was no issue. The transaction was above board. It had complied with Ghanaian law. This is a significant finding. Now let's continue. Contrary to rumors out there and a lot of propaganda, it has emerged that apparently someone, John Mahama, had a contract with Airbus as their agent before Vice President Mahama became president.
Yes.
Even I didn't know this. I didn't know until I read the OSP report. Indeed, I like how the OSP puts it.
One second.
The OSP.
I thought you had mentioned that he became an agent after the contract had been signed.
No,
That's a different one.
he's done
No,
jobs with them.
He's done jobs with them.
With them.
Before.
Yes, but I think it's with the Ghana one.
Yes.
That there was an earlier deal that was botched.
Yeah.
And then they got him to get involved with the Ghana one. But he and his guys had done...
After the contract had been signed.
Yeah, he and his guys had done things, served as intermediaries for Airbus on other things in other countries.
Let me help Nana Kumia by reading paragraph 6.6. It also appears that Foster and his associates became involved as intermediaries in the Airbus deal after the decision by the government of Ghana in preference of the C-295 aircraft. Therefore, it seems that Foster's Airbus intermediary role at the time his brother served as the vice president of Ghana was a case of luckless coincidence. Luckless coincidence.
Yeah, I read that.
I had to underline that. Luckless coincidence.
Which means what?
That attracted the disapproval of the UK and US authorities.
No, what does it mean?
Luckless coincidence, it was just coincidence. Coincidence that you are an agent, then your brother becomes vice president. And they say they want to buy, the military had recommended that they actually want the C-295 aircraft. If the military had not recommended that they want the C-295 aircraft, the Ghana Armed Forces Council, if they had not made that recommendation, Samuel Adam Foster Mahama's business dealings would not have come into the picture. I mean, very, very significant finding. And look, I agree with civil society. Franklin Kujo and others who have said that the OSP has done such a thorough job. I read Bryce Simon's analysis. I agree with all of them. Because I decided to also read the report cover to cover. And the thoroughness, the detail, the extent to which they went, the people that they spoke to internationally. And you see, this is what you get when you bring in international collaborators. It is remarkable. And I agree with civil society who have praised the OSP. I am full of praise for the work they have done on this particular matter. Then, Doc, it is also interesting that the OSP makes the following extra findings. 6.13. Indeed, to all intents and purposes, and objectively viewed, an agency relationship existed between Airbus and Foster and his associates, by which Foster and his associates acted as business partners of Airbus in respect of the Airbus Ghana deal, and under which Foster and his associates were to be remunerated success-based commission payments. Doc, this point has to be emphasized. So, when you are an agent for Airbus, if there is a transaction which goes through, you have a commission which they call success-based commission. Success-based commission. So a lot of the money some people lump all together and call bribes. They are not. The investigators have determined that they are success-based commission payments. And it continues. This was a typical arrangement instituted by Airbus, by which it contracted third parties as business partners to increase its international footprint and to assist it in winning sales contracts in numerous jurisdictions. On this basis, when Airbus made a successful sale of aircraft, it will ordinarily pay a business partner a commission, base percentage, value of the sale, or fixed amount of the aircraft. Very, very interesting finding. Now, another matter that I didn't know, which I now know from this report, very, very revealing. Doc, are you aware that Just 2 months after Ghana signed this agreement, after the parliamentary approval, Airbus did due diligence. And per its internal rules, corporate rules, when they discovered that Samuel Adam Foster is a brother to the Ghanaian vice president, they terminated his contract. Are you aware? It's all here. I never knew that. And a lot of the money that Nana Kumia was asking, but they say some monies were paid, bribes were paid. Do you know that the investigators have determined that at the time they claimed that those monies were being paid to Adam Foster, he was no longer an agent.
Yeah, his role had been terminated.
His role had been terminated. And so they are now even suspecting that they are insiders because they have determined that some of the management at Airbus didn't even disclose that Samuel Adam Foster had his agreement terminated. And yet some monies were being paid. Under the guise that, we are going to give it to the vice president's brother. Meanwhile, he had no agreement. Very revealing. Look, I appeal to Ghanaians to read this report. When you read this report, a lot of these...
interestingly...
very revealing report.
When this issue came up, the referral to OSP and all these facts, these things were put out. Not by the OSP, but by others who had the information. Even by Adam himself. His work with them, how they terminated this thing when they found out that he was related to the vice president and all that. And how come when the payments were made, he was not even associated with them. All this, and that's how come he was even exonerated by the UK SFO. In all of it. So these facts have been in the public domain, but people simply refuse to.
You know that. Let me continue. Do you know that?
Let him finish.
Just a small. They will still have to be subject to investigation. That is what has been done. All these facts that you said were in the public domain, but you still have to subject them to investigation.
Do you know
that is what has been done.
Do you know that the OSP...
Now, what did he say about the monies that were paid?
I'll come to that.
That's what I want to listen.
I'll come to that. Do you know that the OSP and all his international collaborators, they have concluded that because of just this C-295 aircraft, Adam Foster Mahama has been disadvantaged. He's lost a lucrative business deal. They have determined, contrary to claims that, because his brother is vice president, he's making such a killing, he's having a great time. They have determined in this report, and let me read, page 20. And Ghanaians should get a copy of this and read it. Every paragraph is explosive. The abrogation by Airbus of the agency arrangement certainly portended to work, and they did work. Grave unfairness against Foster and his associates. Can you believe that? So contrary to all the propaganda, that he's making a good time, he's having a time of his life because of his association. 2 months, as soon as they did their due diligence, it was terminated. And all the aircrafts we bought subsequently, you remember we bought a lot of aircrafts, including the Embraers and all of that. He has been disadvantaged. And I like how the OSP has really flowery language. I love how he writes.
He attended a crack.
He writes very, very well. Grave unfairness against Foster and his associates. It portends to work against their interest. And yet, this family is being vilified all over the place. They are being attacked. Meanwhile, because their brother, you are doing your business long ago. You are an airline agent. Somebody is on a political career. He was assemblyman, MP, deputy minister. You too, you say you want to be a businessman. You are doing your business. Then Professor Mills decides to pick him as running mate. Trouble for you. Now, your business collapses.
The bill you are pushing, that's what it will do to all of us.
Yes.
I'm sitting my somewhere. If my brother decides to become this thing, then...
clear manifestation.
But beyond that...
Clear manifestation. And the investigators say that
beyond
it has worked
beyond that
to his...
You have been pushing allegations against the vice president because you say his brother has been involved in something. It's the same thing.
Yes, but you know, I make sure that I have evidence of influence peddling, unfair advantage. You understand? When the Auditor General says that their contract sums have been inflated, they were single sourced, I have to raise legitimate questions as a member of parliament. I'm sure that if there was some inflation, maybe even the aircraft some didn't arrive, or it was inferior, or it was they didn't follow due process.
Well,
the OSP will have said that. So here we are. This vilified Adam Foster, put on an Interpol red list, crucified, made a criminal. Investigators have concluded that he has rather suffered.
Who put him on an Interpol red list?
The OSP. I read it.
The office of the OSP?
Yeah.
Well, the office of the SP?
The office of Special Prosecutor.
So, but if it was necessary for him to conduct his investigation,
no problem. I'm not.
So why are you?
I'm not. I'm just saying that.
No, but the way I said is like some wrongdoing was done to him. But it's a result of those actions that the conclusions have been arrived at.
So what would then happen to all the damage done his reputation? What would then happen to him?
The OSP, as part of his investigations, took steps, isn't it? As part of his investigations.
And
actually, it's a result of those steps that has come to this conclusion.
That is why those who were... What
did you and your collaborators do?
About what?
About Adam Foster, Mahama.
That's why...
What did I do about it?
That is why those who investigated the issues... Those who investigated the issues, that is why they decided to use terms like intermediary, 4 and 5, and government official 1 and all that. Because of reputations. Because they didn't have evidence that this is exactly what... You know what you read about the former Thor or whatever person. You see, the person has been named. There's a direct allegation against him. But what we decided to do was to go beyond this one and seek to unmask the said people, put their pictures in the full newspaper and all that. And it was to achieve a political purpose.
The Mahama's brother's picture.
Yes. It was.
But he was named.
He was named.
They
described him as intermediary 4 or 5, one of them.
He was never named in any of the papers, the court papers.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that this GO1 and all that, it was to avert some of these things, that you could have reputational damage that you will not be able to.
Yeah, but I'm saying that as for the Samuel Mahama, he was named. So it
what
is
about,
not anybody's
what about
speculation.
John Mahama?
He was in there. Just in government official 1.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's just suspicion of everybody that it could be him.
Yeah, but what did we do with it?
What did you do with it?
You held a press conference.
Yeah.
Who held a press conference?
Your party. You held official press conferences.
Because you agreed that the suspicion was reasonable.
And beyond that,
no, because
we had the president, we had the attorney general at the bar conference.
Say what?
Descending on President Mahama and his brothers, subjecting him.
Listen, Randy,
to vile.
As for President
attacks.
Mahama, once again, listen, as for President Mahama being government official 1, there's no problem with that.
Look, there are more explosives.
Isn't it? There's no problem with that. As to him receiving bribes, is subject to investigation.
But the issue
and that is what has been done.
The issue of saying that his government official 1 was intended to paint the picture that he was the recipient of
But it has been confirmed that he's government official 1.
Yeah, but did he receive any bribe?
But nobody said he received bribe. We said that
go and play back all the press conferences and all the things that you said.
No. We are proceeding on what you are coming up.
Viewers want to know the content of the report.
I'm saying that. I just want to find out what is going to happen, what the OSP said about the money.
So let him finish.
Yes. So I'm getting there.